Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
In this week's episode of the Kindness Project, we talk about YouTube, Ninja, and we have part 2 of our interview with Nikki Schuster from Renew Counselling Ltd.
Welcome to the Kindness Project. I am one of your humble hosts, Chris Dames. I am joined by Charlotte and Russ. And this is take 3 of this current episode of the Kindness Project. Take 1, we got about 10 minutes in, and then somebody started streaming in the back garden, which was a bit of a distraction. Take 2, 2 minutes in, the washing machine went off.
Not even 2 minutes. It was like 30 seconds.
I know.
And we couldn't hear it. You just got up because you got frustrated with it.
And I am literally just waiting for the next noise. I'm literally on tenterhooks about what that next noise might be, because let's revisit a conversation we started in take 1, and we'll
let's revisit a guest quickly first.
Oh, go on in.
Swanderlust. The lady
Martha Lawton.
Martha Lawton has a studio, and I think we should get one.
We need one. We need to do this in a proper studio, don't we?
Ollie had a studio when I went and visited him.
All right. Everybody's got a studio but us.
Everybody's been to their studios other than me.
Well, I've been to Ollie's studio. I've recorded in Ollie's studio and Martha's studio. My studio is, we've got the office, haven't we? We could potentially use the office.
I think that'd be noisier than where you are now, though.
Yeah, I don't know, but
streamer.
Yeah, well, we don't stream in the office, right? So we normally keep the streamer in the garden. Are you using your streamer in your office, and if so, why?
No, but the streamer makes a noise in the garden. You're more likely to hear it in the office than you are in the.
Oh no!
Oh, you're talking about the home office, aren't you? I was talking about the office.
Oh
the
no!
home office
You
where
won't
all
hear
this
a streamer
started.
in the office.
No, the office is fine, but the home office is a bit of an issue. I've got too many offices, clearly. And thanks, Russ, because volunteering to pay for this studio was really generous of you.
There's no point, Russ. We've only got a little bit left.
No, we want to carry on podcasting some description, Russ, won't we? So, the fact that you are going to build me an office, a podcast studio, is amazing.
Is it?
It is.
I'd be surprised if it ever happened. That's how amazing it is.
Actually, speaking of, I've taken a leaf out of Russell's book and gone on a couple of YouTube rabbit holes recently.
Go on. We'll have a YouTube rabbit hole.
I was watching a video about home recording studios.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah,
I've seen them.
And you soundproof the walls with the padding. You go and sit in your cupboard.
I know somebody who uses egg boxes, and I don't know why egg boxes are so effective. Why are they so effective?
To disperse the noise. Because they've got holes in them, the noise sits in the holes.
Yeah.
Right, okay, fair enough.
And the shape of them as well, Like whenever you see soundproofing, it's always in little triangles like the egg box.
Talking of audio, I've had an amazing find on Amazon.
Go on.
Oh.
So, I'm a fan of Apple products.
Is it a Ninja product?
No.
Oh.
Although I brought 2 new Ninja products.
You're Joe. What have you brought now?
Hold on, I'll tell you about them in a minute. Kenny was flicking through Amazon for some Ninja books, for me Ninja products, and come across Echo Buds.
Right.
Now, I'm a fan of Apple products, and I don't deny it. They're very expensive, but I like them. Nearly £300 I paid for my AirPods. I got these Echo Buds for 50 quid, and they're much better sound quality than the AirPods.
Are they earphones?
Yeah, they're in earbuds.
Earbuds. See, because of my ear issues, I don't use earbuds. I use the aftershock.
No, I couldn't get on with them. I've tried them.
But they are
I feel weird.
No, they're amazing. They're great for running. I was out my bike earlier on today, just wearing wherever I want. I haven't got to worry about, like, you know what was always frustrating about earbuds? Because particularly because I wear them while I'm
if you're
exercising.
riding a bike on there, the vibrations will fall out.
Yeah, exactly. It's popping out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like that element of, and if you're on a bike, you don't want to sort of be zooming along, lose an earbud, and then like find that it's miles away and you can't find it.
You look round, there it is, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're over a bollard.
That's one of my favourite pair of
Sorry,
headphones
the
I
bottom
ever
of a
had.
bollard.
Right, I fell off my bike. I hit a bollard and fell off my bike once, Russ, and you won't let me. You'll never let it lie, will you?
My favourite pair of headphones I had was bright blue.
Right.
Bright blue.
Sports headphones.
Right.
And they had the little wire that attached them. They were Bluetooth.
Oh, fabulous!
I love these things.
I
They
think
cost me
most
like
headphones.
£15. And they
I think most headphones are
year and a
Bluetooth
half.
now, aren't they? They're just like plug-in headphones.
Yeah, you
Don't mind.
don't really.
Oh no,
Sorry. Modern phones. I don't know what sort of phone you've got, but modern phones, like my Apple phone, don't even have a port to plug into.
I can plug in mine in my back, but my one's a Ninja phone. You got one of them, Russ?
No.
You got a Ninja
got a
phone,
Samsung.
Russ?
Let me tell you about my new Ninja products while we're here.
Go on then.
I got the Ninja kettle.
Oh.
It boils.
What is it? Right, go on, it boils.
Sorry. It boils to the temperature you set it at. So it does coffee, tea, specialty tea, herbal tea.
Hold on. Can I just share something with you, Russ? My kettle does coffee. My kettle does tea. It does speciality tea. It does herbal tea. What else can your Ninja one do?
Right, but it's optimized to boil at that temperature.
No, it's marketed to you so that you'd buy it and pay more for it when a normal kettle would do.
No.
Yes,
It's optimized at that temperature.
Plus, do you drink specialty tea?
No.
Right. Okay.
That's the question you need to be
What
honest.
drink do you have that you need it optimized?
Coffee. Oh, no. Because I put a dash of cold in my coffee, so I drink lukewarm, not. I can set
lukewarm. No, I've got this amazing thing called a cold water tap that allows me to do that. I don't know if you've got one in your house.
I've got this amazing thing called just wait 5 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah, just wait for it to cool down. Exactly.
I can't afford cold water.
To wait for it. Oh God. Right. Okay. So a point.
And
right. Okay. Cost of living. How much was your kettle? And I'll compare it to how much mine was. Cost of living. Go on. Cost of living. How much did you spend on a kettle where you can choose the temperature?
I got a knockdown price. It was 79.
I tell you what, the only person who's been knocked down, mate, spending 79 quid on a kettle is you. My Christ, on a bike.
And then I got a hand mixer.
Oh God.
Also Ninja.
Is that to mix your tea?
No.
Is that to take the tea bag out?
Blender.
Radiocarbon dating is a method for determining the age of an object containing all.
Sorry, why am I hearing about carbon dating?
It's interesting, but it's maybe not relevant.
Who's talking about carbon dating?
Siri decided it wanted a podcast.
All right, okay. So
Russ, don't say the name. You're gonna set up all your products.
That's not what happened.
Siri, what's the average price for a kettle?
It doesn't work like that. I haven't got it set like that. But, I've got the Apple Touch bar on my computer.
Let me ask Hey Google, because I've got that on my phone, right?
Okay.
Hey Google, what's the average price for a kettle in the UK?
$79.99.
Kettles in the UK, $29.99.
Right.
Morphy Richards, other kettles are available. $19.99, 35 quid. On the first page, there's not a kettle over 35 quid.
Okay, I googled it.
Go on.
7558 cordless kettle.
Is your one called this, Raz?
No.
Got a
Cordless.
cold?
Sorry, it's cordless, yeah.
It's got a cold, old school.
All the way
No,
down to
it's
the
not.
other end. $8.98.
Now,
Essentials.
I'm sorry. I wouldn't spend 79 quid on a kettle. I'd worry about spending just £8 on a kettle.
No, that sounds right on my street, that.
What? We have got the two extremes here. We've got kettle Rupert Murdoch, who's like got plenty of money for kettles, and then kettle Ebenezer Scrooge. I mean, literally, we've got one kettle extreme to the other.
Russell's careful with his money, so he can afford nice Ninja products.
Well, is that? I mean, the reality is, if it I'm not convinced that spending that money on kettles would make me happy, so I don't.
It don't make me. It don't make me overly happy. I just like consistency
Of temperature of your instant coffee.
I've got Ninja coffee machine.
What? You have?
Ninja.
Sorry, you've got a kettle that can boil the water to whatever consistency you want.
Yeah.
Charlotte is now putting notes in the podcast notes.
That's the $8.99
about cheap kettles.
No.
Oh, is that the expensive one? That's the spec one, is it?
£139 for a kettle.
No.
It hurt my heart just to see it.
You're only paying for the brand. So we've got the student version, and then we've got the Rockefeller version.
I didn't pay for my kettle. It was here when I arrived. I didn't.
But you'd pay $7.99 for a kettle.
Yeah.
And not worry it blow up after you used it twice.
Nope.
No.
It wouldn't.
Oh, cool. It wouldn't.
You just have to descale it 2 times a year, and then you'd be fine.
You don't want to magically descale for 80 quid, Rose. You haven't got to worry about that, have you?
No, but there's special pods you can get for it.
Of course they are. Ninja don't miss a trick, do they? What, they made of gold and cost £47 each?
I don't know why you're bad mouthing Ninja.
I'm not.
The amount we talk about money, and we could have advertising.
I tell you what, I'd like to, the amount we talk about money, but the reality is they are a premium brand, aren't they? Are they a premium brand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like premium, so.
You know, particularly when it's good. And look, you're allowed, right? So you don't travel that much, bless you, dear. So you're allowed to spend your money on what you enjoy.
I do enjoy them.
Good stuff. Shall we move on to the next part of the show?
Kindness news.
Go on in, Charlotte.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Righto. Let me make sure I've got the right one. Here we go. Kentucky tattoo artist goes viral for generosity. Oh. There's not actually a story connected to this. It's just a video. It's just a video.
Right. Well produced, Russ. Amazing. Too busy with that kettle to produce properly.
Many new fire.
Right, are you just going to play the video? Oh, right. Okay, I'll do the second news story. Man Red Mother Camel thanks him for kindness. The viral video of it. He's giving me another video. The viral video of a man rescuing a trapped baby camel and reuniting it with his mother is a heartwarming reminder of the kindness and compassion that still exist in this world. Camels are known for their endurance and resilience in the face of tough desert conditions. These majestic creatures can survive harsh environments, making them a symbol of strength and perseverance. Yet, as powerful as they are, they still need help sometimes. Just like the baby camel in a viral video that has touched millions of hearts worldwide. The video shows a baby camel trapped in a chasm, would you say?
Yeah.
Chasm in the middle of a desert.
How's it spelled?
CHASM.
Yeah,
struggling to free itself. The mother camel watches helplessly as her baby tries its best to escape the trap. That's when a kind-hearted man comes to the rescue. With no hesitation, he approaches the baby camel and tries to lift it up. And after some difficulties, he succeeds. The baby camel happily runs back to its mother, and they share a beautiful moment of reunion. That was like me when I come and met you in Glasgow, you running up to me in George Square, wasn't it? It was like
that
had
was
a
like
hug.
that was like me when I randomly appeared at your bedroom door and you didn't know I was coming.
Well, I mean, literally, when I came up to see you in Glasgow, you did try to sneak up on me in the middle of a deserted square, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like you were,
Bloody pigeons gave me away. Nothing
you
against
were,
pigeons,
yeah,
I
the
love
pigeon,
pigeons.
yeah, the pigeon gave you away. But when I was recovering from my operation a couple of weeks ago, you did surprise me by just turning up at the door. But I couldn't react like I wanted to because I was halfway through a game of Fortnite, which was quite important. The video, which was shared on the Twitter account, Nature is Amazing, that Twitter account sounds amazing, has amassed 1.8 million views and 106,000 likes. The caption reads, helping this trapped baby camel get back safely to his mum, a true hero. We need more people like him in the world. The comments on the video are heartwarming, with many calling the man a hero for his selfless acts of kindness. You know what we need on Twitter? More good news stories, because it does seem to be becoming a bit of a negativity cesspit at the minute, Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
I'm spending less time on Twitter because it feels a bit. I mean,
I don't know. I can't get on with Twitter.
Yeah, I feel that Twitter is certainly, from my impression, starting to become a bit more polarized, and I know that generates clicks, and I know why they do it commercially. I just don't think it's good for either the world or any of our collective mental health when we assume that one side has got all the right answers, and we shouldn't get involved in intelligent, nuanced, collaborative conversations.
I think the problem with Twitter, Reece, there is no conversation on there. It's just opinions.
Yeah, I think you're right. The comments on the video are heartwarming. However, there are slithers of light in there. The comments on the video are heartwarming, with many calling the man a hero for his selfless acts of kindness. This is what the world needs more of. One person wrote, another commented, it's made my day. Thank you for sharing this heartwarming video. What makes this video so touching is the man's willingness to help a small animal in need without any expectation of reward or recognition. His act of kindness serves as a reminder that small gestures can make a big impact in the world. It's heartening to see that there are still people like him who are willing to go out of their way to help others, including animals. I love that story.
Cute.
I really, really, really love that story. And now we've got part 2 of our interview with Nikki Schuster from Renew Counselling. I loved my conversation with Nikki. It was very insightful. Certainly learned a lot from Nikki about the work she does, but also it made me think quite a lot about mental health, the questions we ask ourselves at times of our life that are really important, and the importance of asking for help. So enjoy part 2. So just asking really good questions, making people feel comfortable and understand that emotionally they're comfortable. And I'm still learning. You know, there's times when I completely get it wrong,
but when you talk about it, there's such a feeling in me, or what I can feel from you is it's a contentedness or a happiness or something. Yeah. There's some kind of feeling it's giving you, isn't it? And that then radiates out to the people.
That's the thing. Like this experience of speaking to amazing people is it's an honor. You know, it's just like one of the I think I said it at the launch. I get to phone people up and go, "You're interesting. Can we have a chat?" without sounding weird. And it's really, really good fun. Now, one thing that, and again, I don't want to get too technical, and part of the reason that I wanted to ask this question is to do a bit of a myth bust in terms of just making sure that people understand this. Did research for the interview, read on the website that the service you provide is multimodal.
Yeah, that sounds confusing, doesn't it?
What does that mean?
Right. Well, do you know? Do you know there are over 460 different types of therapeutic models? Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, we all know about CBT because that's the one the NHS use a lot. There's psychodynamic, there's person-centered, transactional analysis. I could go on.
Yeah.
And as people, I suppose, deliver in that way, they grow and develop and new models emerge. My feeling is that the reason for that is because we are all individuals, we are all different. And like I said to you, my particular itch is to be challenged. Somebody else's itch may be something different, but we all have different ways we want to relate as well. We have all, we want to sort out a problem in a way that means something to us and makes sense to us.
Yeah.
So for us as a service, we know that there are certain things that are the same across every model, but we want to be able to support the individual to try and help match them with the right person for them.
So all it means is just having the tools in your kit bag to help more people, right?
Yeah, and to recognize that some counsellors will have very particular tools for very particular issues, or for somebody who engages and relates in a particular way. You might have somebody who comes and says to you, I've always felt a particular way and I really want to look back over my life and see where did that begin. Well, that's a type of counselling you might send them to. Or you'll have someone else say, I never seem to be able to get to that next step.
Yeah.
And then there's another type of counselling. And what we always ask individuals as well, when you think about what works for you? What kind of person do you like to speak with? Do you want to see a male counsellor, female counsellor? Yeah, that kind of thing.
So how tailored is the service you provide then? If somebody came to you and said, I'd like counselling, how do you make sure there's a match?
Okay, well, I'll walk you through the process. So someone calls in, asks for an appointment, and they're offered an initial interview. And that interview is with somebody who is trained to do it. And at that point, it's a lot more question and answery than maybe normal counselling would be, because the counsellor and the client are working out what's going to work for them. Yeah. And there's kind of three questions, I suppose, at the core of it all, which is what's brought you, what do you want to get out of it, and is there anything else we need to know? Fundamentally, that's what we need to know. But through that process, the client can ask any questions they may have about trying to understand counselling, confidentiality, will I see the same person? All those kind of questions. And the counsellor is speaking to them and holding in mind what might work for this individual. Or might actually be sitting there and thinking to themselves, actually, I don't know if we're the right agency. I don't know if that's the right place. And then if we're not necessarily the right place, where do we signpost to? What support can we offer to direct this individual to
somewhere that can actually
help? Because we may be multimodal, and actually the people I work with are so highly professional and passionate about what they do, but we're not going to know everything. We're not going to have there is obviously going to be somebody who may come in with a particular difficulty where there might be a specialist service that's much better placed to support them. So that's how we do it.
That makes perfect sense. So and I suppose, and we've touched on it already, particularly if you're helping people across the sort of generations. Have you seen the sort of reason people approach counselling change over the years? And is there a generational difference in terms of the in
I think
terms of the reason they come and have a conversation?
Well, we've alluded to that before. I would say maybe there's less change with the beginnings. So your 4 and 5 and 6-year-olds and your ends. So maybe your 50 pluses. They're pretty much.
We're not counting that as the end, are we?
Well, no, but what I think I'm saying about that is I grew up in a generation where having a mental health difficulty or feeling, I don't like to even frame it like that because it sounds like a diagnosis, but struggling to cope
yeah
was deemed as a weakness rather than, excuse me, I just don't have any more strength, you know?
Yeah.
So I think there's still bits of that around, but what I do believe is that young people are coming, and the reasons why they're coming have changed significantly over the years. People, we're all human, and I think we're all struggling with relationship breakdown, bereavement, loss of jobs. You know, those things are historic. They're just much more frequent now.
Yeah.
Sad to say. But then in young people, you know, the impact of social media, as we've referred to before, expectations on them, you know, education. The education system is quite a pressure on young people now.
Yeah.
There was much more fluidity in it and flexibility when we were younger. Now there is expectations are incredibly high, and there's huge pressure, and there's less room for those who don't necessarily conform to the box being provided.
It's interesting though, isn't it? I mean, it's like sort of, so I've got, as you know, I've got 2 girls. Charlotte's particularly academic. I think Sophie's going to follow a slightly different, but too early to say. Sophie will probably follow a slightly different path. But and again, it goes back to that definition of success, doesn't it?
Exactly.
You know, I say to my girls, what I want you to be is happy. You know,
Yeah.
I want you to be content. I want you to enjoy your life, and I suppose there's a generational, you know, and we speak to people who have still got this perception that success is a red brick university and then becoming a doctor, whereas actually it's a lot wider than that, isn't it?
Well, that was my question for you. Do you think maybe that's what's happened, is that it's become so distilled down, the notion of success? You know, being a very skilled carpenter or a phenomenal plasterer or plumber. Wow. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
For God's sakes, I've had so many duds come through the door to do the work here, finding that skill for me. You know, I have practical experience of trying to find brilliant tradesmen, but that's not seen as a success. How is that?
I mean, clearly it is. But also the interesting thing is, I think the world's changing, and certainly, and again, I am biased when it comes to this sort of stuff, just because of the way that I look at life, Nikki. But I think part of my like if I look at what's going on in the world today, and particularly like sort of what's going on with artificial intelligence trends and replacement of jobs and all of that over the next 20 years. I think the interesting thing is and in my field as well, you know, as a financial advisor, technical knowledge, everybody can Google. What I think we need to develop or help kids develop is empathy and curiosity, because I think what's going to come back is the more human jobs, you know, the jobs that a machine can't do, but actually are really important to have those skills.
I do agree with you. I think that maybe what's happened, I suppose, what happens is everything pulls our focus, doesn't it? So everybody comes very, very interested in the current trend or whatever. And then things are lost, and then we notice they're gone, and then they come back.
Yeah.
But it's like customer service at the moment. I won't go on a rant about that. Trying to get any kind of personal administration done is so tedious and difficult. And that's because, well, to my mind, I think, I may be wrong, there's all of this automated services and where they're very expedient and they're really helpful for the business. For the end user or the customer, it's a nightmare.
That's the challenge. I think what we're going to do is see a prevalence in automation on one side, but then the really important human jobs.
But bringing it back to work, I think I want to say that a lot of young people and people in their early 20s, they come and they may feel like they're out of their depth with all of this, but they're not seeing that there is so much and so many different things out there that may grab their interest and that they may hugely be passionate about and really excel at.
Yeah.
And that's what our jobs are, isn't it? Is to remind them that, okay, maybe, I don't know, being a games developer isn't in your skill set, but maybe there's something else out there that actually you could really, like you say, measure success with.
Yeah. I think the other thing is as well is that I think we're all guilty of it in terms of where we are, is that and I write about this in the book, that comparison situation.
100%.
And I think what we need to do is just turn around and go, yes, I may look content. Thank you for saying that, because I am, but that doesn't mean to say that I've not struggled, I've not gone through challenges.
No.
I don't continue to go through. Life isn't perfect, and I think that part of the challenge we've got is teaching kids that it isn't.
You're saying that, and I think to myself, what do? We work on the anchor. We work on our anchor, and if we can get that right and secure, then regardless of what the weather is,
it's the foundations, isn't it?
The anchor is there, and and I suppose that's what happened to me through my journey in learning about therapy and everything and attending therapy sessions, was it doesn't matter how bad it gets, I'm okay. And that sounds so simple, but it's actually really tough to get.
It's something you can go back to, right?
And it's exactly, it's having that anchor and knowing I'm securely attached, I can manage this buffeting really, really well. And often when people come and see us, they don't feel as though they have that anchor.
My one's different, but very similar. So my one is the phrase, "This too shall pass." I 100%. Love that phrase. Because whatever happens, euphoria, it'll work out in the end, generally speaking, if you do the right stuff.
Yeah, but Chris, try saying that to somebody when they're feeling really, really
that's
like you say, again, comparison.
But I think going back to our conversation next week, telling somebody that versus curiosity and empathy and understanding why, I think I'd always go for the latter as opposed to the former. But
absolutely. And I think I said to you when we met at your book launch, for me, there's sometimes when you're holding hope for someone else, so they don't feel like they've got their anchor and their little boat is buffeting around in the storm. You're sitting alongside them, or you're interviewing them in your case, and in your depth, you can see their potential. You can see that they're going to be able to navigate this storm, but you can't say to them in the moment, "That's not that bad." Or
no, you're right. You're
exactly
right. How what's really interesting? I really like that visualization of the anchor in the storm.
Yeah.
How helpful in your work is like those visual representations?
I'm going to be a pain in the neck now and say, for some that wouldn't work at all.
Yeah.
For me, it works, and I share it with those clients. And I in speaking with our counsellors, I know that a lot of them will say certain clients, absolutely, those metaphors are incredibly important, and they
visual thinkers get that right.
Visual thinkers, and it'll be something really important for them. You know,
For our more experiential and auditory learners, because this is a podcast, tell me a story that best describes the amazing work you do.
well, I can't go into too much detail
Of course.
because, as you know, an individual coming in for counselling is entitled to absolute confidentiality. And then I'm thinking, should I give you a generic story? But then I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you about how it is to be me in Renew. So I come into the centre every day, and I came into the centre at Bridge every day, and I pass by our waiting room, and I pass by clients all day in what I do. And the things I notice is how people begin to come into counselling. Their body language, they may be quite closed, quite cut off, and often that is the case. They're not really looking up and looking into your eyes. And over the course of some weeks, sometimes months, sometimes, or even a couple of years for some, you will notice a change from somebody being really closed. You will notice them becoming much more open.
Yeah.
So I think that a story that best describes is thinking about an individual. I used to say, when I remember seeing this individual, I really want to see him smile. I want to see a smile, because as I would walk through and he'd be sitting in that chair, you could feel the sadness on him, like just a big, heavy coat. And then about 6 months in, I remember coming in and he looked up and smiled at me just in acknowledgement. And in that moment, I knew that something transformative had happened within a 6-month period for this individual in his life.
Yeah.
And the transformation was just phenomenal. Does that answer that question?
Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Just the gradual change in somebody. Just having the ability to talk is amazing. Tell me about. We've talked about what people perceive and the reality of counselling. What do you think the big common misconceptions are?
I think advice, a place to go to get advice, to get told how you're going to get better.
Right.
I think from a client's perspective, now there's a big drill going off now, so your work's there.
But the dogs have stayed really calm all the way through, haven't they? The dogs haven't made. We haven't had a peep out of the dogs, which is.
Excuse me now.
Yeah. They're here.
He's gone. The counselling hour is 50 minutes. We've been talking for 50 minutes, and he has jumped up on my knee.
You know what? There's an internal clock in dogs.
Something.
Just like,
there is something. There is something. You were asking me about misconceptions, and I think just to think about what do you hear from clients as they come in. And I'm sad to say one of the huge misconceptions we get is that somebody doesn't feel deserving of counselling.
Right.
Yeah. I think that clients often feel like you have a crystal ball or some magic wand. They may feel that you're judging them. That might be something else that you would get. And I think if somebody is feeling a sense of shame in their lives, I think it's so hard for them to come and to talk about it without feeling that perhaps you're going to judge them for it.
Yeah. How would you encourage somebody who felt they needed counselling to think about it, at least consider it?
I would love everybody just to have a couple of sessions, even just to know that it isn't something to be frightened of, or worried about, or angry at. Because I think that our job is not to judge you, not to tell you where to go, but to support you, to come alongside you. I'm sorry, that drill has really distracted me.
And the dog. So last two questions before the drill and the dog get the better of us. Tell me a little bit about how you're funded as a service, because I know you deliver a lot of really good support to. I know you deliver a lot of really good support to people who potentially can't afford counselling, and you try and deliver that at a cost that they can afford. Clearly, that's funded. So, talk to me a little bit about how it's funded and what people can do to support the amazing work you do.
So before I even say that, I realised that I haven't told you about what we do, where we're at. So we were founded in 1904. The last 30 years, we've been really kind of focusing on counselling, and we have a centre in Basildon, one in Brentwood, and one in Chelmsford. We're in schools across Essex as well, and we have some schools in East London. Alongside that, we do deliver training. So we train counsellors in partnership with Anglia Ruskin University. So they get an actual university certificate at the end of it. And that is a higher level diploma in child and young people's counselling, person-centred counselling, and we do a BA top-up degree. So we're kind of providing this diverse range of support. We also deliver supervision, so we can go into schools and we work with like safeguarding leads and people like that to support them, because when you're working with vulnerable people, it has an impact on you. So we support them in supporting others. So that's the work we've been doing for the last 30 years. And what made that possible really is we grew up out of a Baptist mission to begin with. And they raised a lot of money and invested in it very, very wisely. For the longest period of time, we were able to look to that to fund the work we do. But actually pots tend to run dry, as they often do. So we are constantly seeking funding. So for instance, at the moment, our children and young people service in Brentwood and Basildon is funded by Mid and South Essex Integrated Care Board. So if a child or young person in those areas needs counselling, fully funded, they can come. Adult work, impossible to get funding for unless there is an issue. So for instance, I might receive some funding to supply counselling to people who've been affected by domestic violence, or somebody who's experienced redundancy for a fixed period of time. So it's really hard to gain funding.
But in terms of general support, it's difficult.
Exactly. The people who would 100% benefit from the service we deliver. And our children and young people service in Chelmsford isn't funded either. The funding isn't there for them. So what we do is, if we make money from training, that money goes into the delivery of the counselling. Anywhere that we are working, that we are making some money, that money all goes into counselling delivery. We fundraise, we seek donations, we're constantly looking for grants, etc., so that it continues to support the work that we do. My big aim is that we're sustainable, because I think, people hopefully should always have somewhere they can go to be able to talk through those difficulties. And we're currently, as you are well aware, in this very tricky time for the general population, the cost of living crisis, etc., What I'm personally finding incredibly challenging, and I know every single one of our staff are too, is that we know we have to turn away people that can't even afford to pay the minimum. That breaks my heart. So a session typically costs between about £48 to £50. The minimum we ask people for is £16 a session. They are then coming to see somebody who is a member of a regulating body, working in an appropriate way with them. And it's the equivalent of going to see somebody in Harley Street, exactly the same qualifications.
The challenge you've got, as you say, Nikki, is if they're also facing the additional challenge of heating or eating, 16 quid's going to be a lot of money.
100%. It is a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but we're walking that tightrope, aren't we? Where if we don't ask for anything, we have a lifespan and it isn't very long.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to do what you can afford from £16.
Yeah.
So that is a struggle for us. So, we have some great people, and I'm going to say to your listeners, if you're thinking of reaching a personal challenge of your own, jumping out of a plane or climbing a mountain or even just running a 5K, and you want to fundraise for us 100%, please do that.
Perfect.
We would love to have some corporate partners who maybe would say, let me set up a bursary.
Yep.
And we'd name it after the corporate partner, and that bursary would be there for individuals, because it is hugely transformative. 100%. It makes all the difference.
So I promised you that we only had 2 questions left, and I'm conscious of time, but I have got just two bits that I want to sort of just curious about. You mentioned about counsellors, because this is quite emotionally tough work, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it is.
How do counsellors? How do you make sure the counsellors are putting their own oxygen mask on first, for want of a better word?
I know what you mean.
To make sure they're okay to continue to deliver the service.
I think that's really a really important question, and that's part of your training as a counsellor, is learning how to put your oxygen mask on. Our job really is to sit with somebody and support them in their feelings.
Yeah.
And I think what happens sometimes when you talk to somebody, if they're incredibly sad, you feel that sadness too, or but as a therapist, you're trained, I guess, to know this is not my sadness. This is this individual sadness, and this is how I can support and help them through their sadness. But they also get like clinical supervision. And they have access to a supervisor if something was particularly challenging or upsetting. We do continual professional development, so we're constantly learning and growing, and if I say nothing, what I want to say now is that when we have struggles in our head, they tend to go round on a loop, and that can tend to really cause us a lot of distress. The power of saying it out loud and being listened to is it's like magic.
Or potentially writing it down. Well, I find writing it down quite a cathartic experience. So that's
it's
number
magic.
one. Number one. Number two is I'm going back to the boat and the anchor, Nikki. I want to talk about that again. So the anchor, right? Let's talk about the anchor. How do we build more resilience in our lives, and how do we make that anchor a little bit stronger for all of us?
Think about being. Don't think about doing. Think about being in those still moments, connecting in with yourself, feeling the anchor. If you are a visual thinker, visualize it. I think that we get so busy in life, and when there are a lot of pressures on you, doing. So you're not maybe doing the maintenance on the anchor. I suppose that's a way to do it, and you're not recognizing.
Just reflect, take the time for you, make sure that you love that.
For me, I would say what I notice with me is gardening, walking, doing something like that. That is very being active. Actually helps me be, if that makes sense. So it's
nature. That gardening thing is that's really important.
So it's finding that out, finding out what is yours.
What's your thing that gives you that sort of that time and space for yourself. Love this interview. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Where can people find out more about Renew and the amazing work you do?
Go on our website, renew.org.uk. We are very approachable. I think that there is, you spoke earlier about some of the myths around counselling, and I think some of the myths left people feeling it's quite scary. People are inapproachable, all of that stuff. But to say, visit the website. If you have a burning question, ring us, ask us, ring me, ask me. Happy to answer it. Really am.
That's brilliant. Thank you
And can
so
I
much.
thank you, Chris, because it's been fascinating, and I would love to interview you at some point after this.
Well,
It's my
I don't know how
curiosity.
much value I can add, to be honest, Nikki. I'm just probably best being curious and empathetic, and I'll just carry on doing what I do. But thank you, I appreciate it.
So that was part 2 of the interview. That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we are now moving on to the feature that has really replaced Question of the Podcast that Charlotte and Russ really enjoy. And I'm growing to like. It's Joke of the Week. Who's doing the joke this week?
Charlotte.
Go on, Charlotte. Take your time. It's only a podcast, audio format. Silence is lovely. Go on.
What's stranger than seeing a catfish?
Don't
He's
know.
a dogfish.
Watching a fish bowl.
Sympathy laugh. And on that note,
I know.
and on that note, have a lovely remainder of the day, whatever you're doing with your time, and we'll see you on the podcast soon.